Yeah, hello. Hello, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to the TDM webinar, Digital Manufacturing. I don't know where in the world you are tuned in from today, but I'm very happy that you're all here. And it's actually not just a webinar, it's part of a webinar series about digital manufacturing and about how integrated tool data management can be a boost for your productivity. Yeah, let's start with a little housekeeping while attendees are still coming in. Yeah, we expect quite a nice audience tonight or today. So you all going to be muted. Makes it a little bit easier. But if you have questions, feel free to ask them whenever you want. I will have some time at the end to answer as many questions as possible. And no worries, every question will be answered. Worst case, we answer them offline afterwards. So, but for now, yeah, I hope you have coffee, a water, or whatever beverage of choice in front of you. Sit back and relax. Our webinar starts right now. And today it's about the shop floor. It's about inventory management, vending, presetting. Basically, big picture, I want to show how an optimized overall process reduces machine downtime and, of course, scrap rates. And no worries for all the newcomers. Every webinar we do in this series kind of stands on its own. There will be a little recap. I will start with tool management in the planning phase, but then, of course, focus on the TwoGrip process. But first of all, yeah, for all the newcomers in this series, let me introduce myself real quick. And of course, at TDM. Let me do this here. Where is my camera? Oopsie. I'm with you in a second. Yeah, my name is Robert Auer. I'm Director of Global Business Development here at TDM Systems. I'm a software engineer by trade. Did spend most of my entire professional career in the manufacturing industry. I'm dedicated to tool management for over 10 years now. My background is quite international. Did work and live in the US for a couple of years. Over the years, I was responsible for several European markets, China, India, Southeast Asia. But again, as most of you, I'm still stranded at home right now. And at home, for me, it could be worse. It's southern Germany, Lake Constance. And some of you actually joined the other webinars as well. As usual, let's have a little weather report. Last web meeting, if you remember, it was actually raining. Now it's actually quite nice. Blue skies, the sun is shining, and it's kind of the end of the day. So if I talk faster, it's because it is beautiful and it's the end of the day. So then let's talk about TDM real quick. Who is TDM? TDM Systems is the leading software provider for managing tool data in the metal cutting industry. TDM is headquartered in Tübingen, which is southern Germany, south of Stuttgart, which you might know. It's actually north of my home office. We have a subsidiary in Schaumburg, which is close to Chicago in the US, and we have sales and service locations and partners around the globe. TDM is a member of the Sandvik Group, which is, you probably all know them, strong company in the back, which is great, and it gives us access to state-of-the-art know-how of internationally leading tool manufacturers. However, at this point, it's also very important to point out we do not only manage Sandvik tools, of course. We manage tools, period. So we are independent, and I think this independence and this openness is key in today's manufacturing world. It's key for digital manufacturing per se. And in this spirit, as usual, please don't see this webinar series as a product presentation or as a sales pitch. It's really about tool management in general, what state-of-the-art tool management is and what tool management can do for you. So without further ado, live from my home office at beautiful Lake Constance, let's talk about tool data management. Yeah, start with a quick recap. What is tool management? We discussed it a couple times in the last webinars. It's, in a nutshell, having the right tools, right time, right place, with the right data, right quality. So a tool data management system is a central database, a tool library, so to say, and the system provides answers for different areas. So for the programmers, you have the parameters, speeds, feeds, history of the tool, availability of assemblies, components. which of course saves costs, time, with an easy, more transparent tool selection or up-to-date central maintained tool data. It reduces error rates, scrap rates through the reliable tool data. And of course, there's also data for job planning, for manufacturing management, like you have the tool sheets, the job sheets, you have the preset data for the presetters, and so on and so forth. This all enables an optimized process. And again, the goal is to reduce downtime and to reduce scrap. And of course, last but not least, we talk about big data. So you have the capability for controlling your process, control tool life, the usage of tools, the quality of tools of your vendors, a nice dashboard to get an overview, history, and all that stuff is managed and visualized in a tool management system. And this is all done by, in the end of the day, a digital process. So you all know this, just the physical tool which cuts metal, which basically produces the parts for you, makes money. What we do, we manage the digital twin. And the digital twin has as well parameters. It has a diameter, it has a length, it has a weight, it has everything which a physical tool has in a digital world, and even more. It has an article number, a price tag, and so on and so forth. And the job of a tool management system is, in the end of the day, providing and collecting actually digital tool data along the entire end-to-end manufacturing process. So we have this digital twin which glides along the entire process. Let's have a quick look how this process actually looks like. And this is a nice overview. We can see there are different systems, different brands, different entities, and they all need different data. So an ERP system, for example, again, needs a component and needs an article number, a price tag, a vendor, and things like that. A CAM system, different story. You need the parameters, you need a solid, a 2D, 3D model. The presetter needs offset data, nominal tool data. A machine maybe needs tool life or offset. So what I'm trying to say is there are different systems. Different systems have a demand for different data, and a tool management system makes sure that we provide that data in the right way with interfaces or integrations. So now tonight or today, I want to try something. I want to try something new, because yesterday or last night I was actually working on a presentation for a bigger project, and the goal is I have to show kind of how a tool management system provides data along this process. And I created a slide similar but a little bit different, and I want to try this out today. And bear with me. I want your feedback after that slide. So let me see. So in the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is, this is the process, the basic workflow. You have your tool vendors, you get your cutting tools, and then you have the tool flow, tool lifecycle management, and at the end you have, of course, the machine which produces your parts. So this is the basic flow on a typical shop floor. Let's start. And how does it look with the tool management system? Let's start in a planning area. In a planning area, usually you set up your components. And let me switch to a different pointer here real quick. Yeah, you start with the components. You get them, of course, from your tool supplier, and then you enter them either in an ERP system, and then you enrich the data in TDM, or you enter it in TDM and then send the data to an ERP system. Or for smaller companies, a tool management system can even be an ERP system. We, for example, we have an order module in our tool management system. But usually the leading database for ordering is an ERP system like SAP, and then we synchronize items, stock levels, and so on and so forth with an ERP system. And then, of course, you have tool management cockpits, full-blown tool management workstations where you assemble the tools out of components, you enrich data, you manage data, you plan, and so on and so forth. And you have CAM systems in this entire process, different CAM systems, and they draw their data, the digital twin from tool management system. You get assemblies with their parameters, there's a typo, oopsie, the 2D, 3D models, part numbers as jobs, and so on and so forth. This is the programming area. Next would be, of course, the shop floor. And of course, sometimes it's not just one shop floor, it could be multiple locations. It could be buildings across the street next to each other, but it could be also plants on completely different ends of the world. And on those shop floors, you have also different systems. You have your assembly area, the tool grip, what we're talking about today. They get the jobs, the part numbers from a tool management system, a bill of material with the items, tool inventory, stock location, assembly info, all that stuff is drawn from the crib, from the tool management system. Then you have your presetters. You have an assembly with the nominal data, tolerances, That's the data provider for presetting systems. Next would be, of course, the machine. Information about assemblies, the offsets, magazine data, tool life, and of course, reporting. You can analyze uptime, downtime, and all that stuff. And then last but not least, there's very often a regrinding process. So this is kind of big picture of how a tool data management system can be integrated into a typical factory landscape. And now the question, how do you think is this how do you think does that slide work? Is it good, or is it okay, or is it maybe a little bit too much information? Depending on your answer, I will either use it in future presentations and webinars or not. Okay, that's good. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I can live with that answer. I think I have to make it a little bit more digestible, so to say, but it's heading in the right direction. Okay. Thank you very much, and good. We can keep this a little bit interactive. Or I can actually share the poll results. I never did that. So you can see what actually, how you voted. So 73%, good, very good. Thank you. So, okay, let's move on. Otherwise, I'm gonna be over the time again. Yeah, let's go through this entire process step by step. And the reason, as this time I will have a little bit more slides with screenshots because it's a little bit tricky to show the TwoGrip process in a live demo in an online session. So this is why there are a little bit more screenshots, makes it probably easier to follow me. This slide we had before. A basic tool management system manages the items with parameters such as, I don't know, dimensions, article number, drawings, connection points. Those items are then used in tool assemblies. Those tool assemblies are used for CAD/CAM systems to do your programming, and the output of a programming or of a CAM system is then the job, the job with all assemblies which are used in a job. So, and even the tool library by itself has various benefits, and we discussed this already. But of course, now it's as at first it's important to get the data into the system in the first place. And of course, we do have tools in TDM for that as well. So you have your central tool database, tool management database, and there are many ways to get the data into the system. You can of course import from Excel. You could download from vendors. But an important side note: you can only import what you get from the source. So the data in TDM, the data that you get into TDM is only as good as the source. You cannot really create something from quote unquote thin air. So another option is we do have catalogs on board with kind of validated or data. And of course, we have interfaces to some vendors. And there are, of course, also online platforms such as Tools United or Machining Clouds. And we do have our own TDM tooling cloud with validated data because, again, the data is only as good as the source. And then, of course, because not all data is created equally, we have tools on board to edit, to modify the data in TDM, like our 2D editors, 3D editors, 3D generators, all that stuff to make sure the data you have in TDM is good and ready for the use. And on top of that, we have a data service team. They create basically digital tool data for customers, and not just for our OEM customers, tool manufacturers, but also for end customers to help you guys to get the data into the system to get started. And then last but not least, we do have data and graphic generators. So we have tools on board to create tools from scratch. So you can create almost any tool from templates within 3 clicks. All that stuff, the goal is to have the data in the right quality for the purpose in our system. And in most cases, what you want to do out of those assemblies items is create, out of those components items is create assemblies. So let's have a look how the software actually creates an assembly out of those components. First of all, you select your component, your item in the database. Of course, there are nice search functions. You search for diameter, for a purpose, for a vendor, whatever. You select your cutting tool. And of course, you have all the information about the cutting tool right there. Like, is it available? How many new items do we have? How many used items? So all that information is just a mouse click away. As a second part, the tool management system suggests you matching items. So it will only show you items which fit to the previously selected item or component. And you select your matching items, the items you want to use, and then the system automatically builds a tool assembly out of that. So you just click on build and the tool assembly is automatically built. And it's not just that it looks nice, no, it actually, the result is the assembly with a bill of material, with the stock location of the items, with the parameters for all the systems which we have interfaces to, with parameters for CAM system, 2D, 3D, also 2D drawings, 3D solids, the assembly drawings for later on the shop floor, the speeds, the feeds for the machines. The data we create just by a click of a button is ready for multiple CAM systems. The data is ready for all the systems on the shop floor. And now this assembly can be used in a CAM system. We went through this in the last webinar. Basically, the CAM system grabs the assembly, geometry, speeds, and feeds. You do your programming, and you send the job back into TDM. And of course, this works for multiple CAM systems. You set up the data once, and it's ready for being used in various systems. So, and now we're done with the planning phase. Now everything is basically already prepared for the shop floor. And on the shop floor, it's the typical process. You have a crib, you want to assemble tools, you want to preset tools and send the tools to the machines, and then maybe disassemble them, regrind, or things like that. So all the information we need is already prepared in the planning phase. So after saving the job in a CAM system, we have a job sheet, a setting sheet. We have in the setting sheet, you have the bill of material, all the components you need to assemble the tool. So now we have everything ready to basically get the stuff together, assemble the tool, preset the tool, and send the tool to the machine. So now let's zoom in a little bit closer into the tool grip area, which is the kind of the overall theme for today. So the TDM TwoGrip module manages items, manages tool assemblies, and gauges and fixtures. And all that is being managed with stock locations and quantities. So you can issue items, gauges, fixtures, and assemblies, but you can also issue entire lists. So you have an entire bill of material or an entire job sheet, you push a button, and you can issue everything for that job. And of course, it can be connected to an ERP system, or actually to the TDM order module to make sure everything will be reordered as soon as you hit a reorder limit or level. And of course, this system supports, let's say, more manual manual systems like this card or a drawer or whatever, but also fully automated tool grip systems like those candy style vending machines or shuttles. So this can all be connected. So in the end of the day, the TDM TwoGrip module manages the inventory, controls the grip systems, and you can kind of hook it up to an ERP system to make sure everything is ordered or reordered in time. Plus, you can of course integrate tool identification systems. That will be part of the next webinar, really briefly. But right now here you can of course integrate identification systems such as barcodes, RFID, 2D, data metrics, or chip systems like Bellof. So to summarize in a nutshell, the grip module basically ensures, first of all, optimum stock levels, allows for stock analysis. You have hit flop list, what's the grip inventory, what's the inventory in a shop floor, the values, tool consumptions, statistics. Also basically, you can also analyze a lot of things from the database. And the entire grip module is also the basis for a cost per part analysis, which is of course a little bit on top of everything. So summarize, the purpose of the grip module is to optimize your tool logistics and then again reduce downtime. And we're basically back to the TDM mantra: right tool, right time, right place. And maybe just a side note at this point, what you see here today, this is the basic grip process, the grip management with the tool grip, with stock location, vending systems, machine maintenance. The next webinar will be about the fully automated process with what we call the so-called shop floor manager. But it actually doesn't matter if it's a fully automated super duper shop floor manager process or this tool grip workflow. In both cases, you get the utmost transparency and basically efficiency in your tool grip management. So there's one more typical feature of basic tool grip management, a presetter interface. So what you have the nominal tool data, the diameter, length, tolerances. Those were defined in the planning stage by the CAM programmer. He defined, okay, this is our overall length, this is our stick-out length, these are the tolerances, these are the corner radii. Saved in TDM, and now we can send that information, the nominal data, to the presetter. In best case, you have a fully automated CNC control presetter. You push a button, the presetter measures the tool, sends the actual data back to TDM, TDM sends the data to the machine. And of course, the data exchange between the machine can be between TDM and the machine, but there are other options. Now we're back to RFID. You can write the data on a Bellof chip, for example, or there could be data output from the presetter to the machine as well. But big picture, the data is in the system automatically transferred from planning to assembly to presetting, so nothing can go wrong. So you have not just the right data, right place, right time, you also have the right quality of data, and you make sure that the scrap rate will be reduced to an absolute minimum. So, and now it's usually time for a live demo, and I will do this today as well. Now, what I mentioned earlier, it's a little bit tricky to show the basic grip process or even a presetter interface in a live demo or an online session. And I can't wait to do this when I can travel again and we can do this live. But I still want to show you a couple screens so you get a feeling how this all looks like in a software. Let me change my screen here real quick to the Global Line software. Too many open screens. And again, it's a little bit tricky to really show the entire process, but I definitely want to show something. Let's start here. If you tuned in the other webinars, you probably already know the home screen. Again, you manage your items, tool assemblies, tool lists, stock management. This can be customized depending on what user logs on. Is it the TwoGrip user? Is it the CAM user? So this can be fully customized. You can change it to whatever you need. And right at the get-go, I want to show you our dashboard. Of course, you have an overview of what's going on my shop floor. What are the most used tool items, tool assemblies, all that stuff can be visualized and used to optimize your process. So, and now basically let's go through the individual steps real quick. Bear with me. And some of the things we already discussed in the last webinars. You have your tool items, the item library, where you have everything you need for the item. You have parameters, suppliers, speeds, feeds, and of course you have information about the tool grip. You have a stock location, and of course you have a quantity, new items, used items. So everything is visible and can be used for the process. Then of course those items are then used in tool assemblies. That's a different assembly, sorry. But then the same thing, you have all the parameters necessary. You have again for the assembly, you have the bill of materials, so which is kind of the list of items you need in order to assemble that tool. And of course, behind every item, you have a stock location, you have a quantity, like you saw just before. Speeds and feeds, you have the parameters for the different CAM systems. If this tool would be stored as it is actually good. If this tool is stored somewhere, no, it's not, on a shop floor, it would show up here as well. So in the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is you have your tool assembly and all the information you need for that. And the next level, the tool list. So you have your tool list with all the assemblies needed for a job. The assemblies have their own little bill of materials, so you have all the information necessary to assemble the tools, to measure the tools. You can also manage the inspection equipment, gauges, and of course, fixtures. And now I'm just going to show you a couple of screenshots. I know it might be a little bit boring, but I'm going to show it to you. As basically, this is just a screenshot on how to issue something and move it to the machine. So you can search for it, but you can just grab it and drag and drop it. I'm not going to do it now. This would be a simple manual process to issue components from one cost center to another. And of course, you can change the cost centers, no problem. I'm not going to do this now. And then there's, of course, a more let's call it guided process. So this would be a more guided process. So you can say, do I want to issue components or individual items, or do I want to issue complete? That would be items. You select what item you want to issue, how many, blah, blah, all that stuff. or an entire tool list. And of course, you want to take it out of a vending system, take it from a machine, or take it from regrinding, and then move it into a stock, to a machine, or into regrind. So everything is available right there. Then, of course, presetting. This would be a typical screen for the preset interface. These are all the tools you need to have if you want to preset. You have the data, the nominal data, and tolerances, and all the information is right there wherever you need it. And I just want to show you a pick list real quick because it shows a little bit how the system works. So you have all those tools are needed for a job, and in the background, the system actually knows if those tools are available somewhere, or are they in stock, are they at a machine, are they ready for presetting, are they in maintenance or regrinding. So basically, the system keeps track on where components or tool assemblies are, and that you can optimize the setup process and make everything as automated as possible. Okay. I mean, I know that it's a little bit hard to follow that part of a live presentation in the software about grip online. Now let me switch back to the presentation. No. Here we go. Should be back on the screen. And this is why I want to summarize real quick. Just in case I confused you or overwhelmed you, quick recap. We have the items, we have the assemblies, we have the tool lists. Always the same thing. Items, we have all the stuff to create the data in the system. Items can then be assembled to tool assemblies. Assemblies can be used in CAM systems. CAM system output is the tool list. By just having this library, we have quality improvements, cost savings, time savings. And I use those numbers also in the last couple webinars because I kind of like them, and they're really customer numbers. Saving almost 2 million in a year by just cutting the number of tool assemblies in half, from 6,000 tool assemblies to 3,000 tool assemblies. Just by having transparency and figuring out which tool assemblies do I use most and which tool assemblies do I almost never use. Can I replace them? Or increasing the uptime or reducing the downtime by 350 hours per year, or having almost 50% less scrap. These are numbers which are, I wouldn't say nice. Also increase your tool usage by up to 50%. That's the basis. And then of course, you have your tool library. Now you can start your shop floor process. And this is what we were talking about today. You have your job with the bill of material, all the information you need. Now you can actually get all the stuff out of your vending systems, from your shuttles, from your drawers, wherever you store your components. You have all the information to assemble the tools. You transfer the data to the presetter. You preset your tools, and then you move them to the machine. And then, of course, you can also add a regrinding process to that. And the reason why we do this, of course, you can see this on the left-hand side. And maybe just one note again, everything to make sure: right tool, right time, right place, right quality. But a little outlook for the next webinar. I will extend basically this TwoGrip thing and show the fully automated shop floor process, how to design your shop floor workflow from scratch, how to automate it, and of course machine connect and tool life monitoring. But even that simple process helps you tremendously to transparency, quality, time savings. That's what it's all about. So I'm almost done with today's webinar. Now I would have, there's even time left for a couple questions. So feel free if you have questions. Now would be a good time. And I'm trying to get this question window open here. And there's already a question. I just have to open this here real quick. Okay, yeah. Can TDM, I just reread the thing. Can TDM generate a unique ID number per assembly? Can this numbering system be customized? There's a clear yes. There's a yes, of course. You have to have a unique number. It's a database. Every assembly has a unique number. Answer number one. Answer number two, yes, you can customize the numbering process. So a certain part is standard, and then you add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can customize that, the numbering system. And then I want to go even further. At this point, we're only talking about a tool assembly, but a tool assembly can also have a serial number, can be serialized. So the same assembly can be available 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. So you have your unique number plus a serial number. So short answer, yes, we can do a lot of things, including a numbering system, a unique number, plus serializing it. And I hope this answered the question. And let me see if there are more questions. Yeah, good, thanks. Perfect. And it looks like, yeah, there are no more questions. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the recap was anyway for people who were already in the meeting. That was pretty clear. The important thing is in the planning stage, you prepare the data for your shop floor, and then you have your TwoGrip shop floor workflow. You have the documentation which is necessary. You have an integration into vending system. You have data for assembly. You have the data for the presetters, and you always know the location of your components, of your tool assemblies, and that's kind of the nice workflow on in your TwoGrip. Then I would say thank you very much for participating, as it was definitely a pleasure. It was a lot of fun. And I know sometime I get asked, is a recording available of the session? Yes, it will be available. It usually takes a couple hours to compile. So I guess in 24 hours you can get the recording from our webpage. And also we have nice videos on those topics on our YouTube channel. Yeah, check it out. Definitely good stuff there. Okay, that was it for today. Yeah, I really hope I see you in the upcoming webinar again. And I really hope to not just see you at a webinar, but visit some of you in the near future and discuss tool management in person. And for now, I would say, stay safe.